listening to the Deep Purple Podcast, a fan podcast devoted to one of the greatest bands in rock history, Deep Purple. Your hosts, Nate and John, cover their shared history with the band, discover new music together, and cover the farthest reaches of the Deep Purple family tree and beyond. Here's Nate and John now.
Welcome to the Deep Purple Podcast, a fan podcast devoted to one of the greatest bands in rock history, Deep Purple. Today's episode was episode number 318, Rory Gallagher, Calling Card. And coming to you from the suburbs of Chicago, where my feet are hurting, I'm your host, Nathan Beaudry.
And coming to you from the suburbs of Providence, I'm your co-host, John, trying to burn the sun, Matola.
And coming to you from the edge of Connecticut, I'm Mark. 2 podcasts on the same subject in the same day, Roback.
Yeah.
Did you recorded a Rory Gallagher episode with Scott today?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. My goodness.
Oh, nice.
Episode 3, so it's all fresh in my mind.
So we're trying to see if we can just make you get to the point where you're like, I'm just sick of him. I'm sick of Rory Gallagher.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I pronounced it. You can tell I listened to your episode because I pronounced it the Irish way.
Yes.
Rory Gallagher.
Well, I thought it was wrong.
Yeah, no, there's actually...
I thought it was just wrong.
Yeah.
Or I was questioning how I should be pronouncing it. I was going to say after this, Mark's going to be all Rory'd out.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. Joe Bonamassa put out a couple. I don't know if he put it out or it was on some guitar thing on YouTube, but he gets on and he says, "Oh, it's Rory Gallagher." And he goes, "I've been pronouncing it wrong for 20 years." He goes, "I just got corrected."
Yeah, my father-in-law is as I've said on the show many times, a huge Rory Gallagher fan, so he's been pronouncing it wrong for many years. But it's it's one of those things that gets pronounced wrong. It gets pronounced that way so many times, but mostly by people who aren't of Irish nationality, that it's kind of accepted.
Yeah, that's what I said. It's the Gaelic pronunciation is making the second G silent, but us Americans are just going to pronounce it the way we want. That's Ariana Grande is like, her name is not actually pronounced Ariana Grande, but it was just basically she got worn out by people mispronouncing it that she's like, fine, I'm Ariana Grande. I don't know how it's actually pronounced, but I know it's not Grande. It might just be grand or something, but she's like, whatever. You just can't be bothered.
Yeah, at this point, nobody's going to say it any differently anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's just, you realize at a point you're fighting a losing battle. It's like people always mispronounce my last name. They're like, did I pronounce it right? I'm like, let's just go on to the next thing. I don't want to get into it.
Yeah.
It's close enough. I know who you're talking to.
Yeah.
If it's somebody I'm not going to have any additional interaction with in my life, like, why are we wasting our time? It's just
correct.
Just tell me about my phone bill or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So we are joined this week by the host of 70s Weekly Countdown with Mark and Pete, by Mark Roback, and also patron of the show and friend and fellow showgoer. So Mark, thank you and welcome back to the Deep Purple Podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Thanks for doing this episode. I feel like I kind of lobbied for it in a way. A few months back, I sort of just started poking around and finding some information on the album, knowing that Roger Glover had produced it. And I think you guys will probably like it. I know you're a little bit familiar with Rory, Nate, because as you mentioned, your father-in-law, but John, I suspect isn't too familiar, so give him a little introduction.
Yeah, not too familiar. Yeah, this is the point where we're just like, so what's your background with no background?
Yeah,
just hearing you guys talk about him. So I know that he's one of these artists that's kind of always flew under the radar, but he's a musician's musician. So
yes, and this is one that's been not just you, but many people have been lobbying for a long time, and it's been on the spreadsheet since day one as a Roger Glover produced album. So, but we will get to all of that in just a moment. But first, we are going to tell you about our patronage. So if you are interested in becoming a patron of the Deep Purple podcast, you should know that our show is 100% listener supported and ad free. So if you receive some value from our show, please consider supporting us. You can leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. You can buy some merch at our Etsy store. A while back, I talked about someone who bought a t-shirt on our Etsy store, but hasn't responded to any of my queries about the fact that we don't have any extra large shirts available. And I haven't heard back. I sent him a message on Etsy. I sent him an email. Still haven't heard anything back. So I was like, well, screw it. I'm just going to make some more extra large. He's going to get it like super late. But they're en route. So hopefully I'll get them soon. I can send them off to him and I'll send him an extra hat or something as a makeup. But we will be having another shipment of extra large shirts arriving soon. So thank you for your patience in waiting for that. You can become a patron on Patreon or on PayPal for as little as $1 a month, and doing so gets you access to our patrons only Discord channel, our rating spreadsheet, invites for our live stream episodes, links for the submissions for episodes such as the Machine Head rankings episode, and access to our banned episodes. That's a new feature. Where if an episode gets banned on YouTube, we just put it on Patreon and they don't seem to take it down. But we're putting it down there for patrons only. So yeah, that's the long and short of it. But as we're speaking of patrons,
new patron,
we do have a new patron, and that
Hey-o.
And that is Michael, who joins us at the 25 Danish kroner tier. Well, he's doing 25 Danish kroner, which leads him to the Nobody's Perfect tier. Actually, a little bit above that, but that's where he signed up for. So thank you very much, Michael, for joining us. We truly, truly appreciate it. He did write a little note. Where is it? He said, Michael is fine, as far as referring to him. He said, been a Purple fan since the early 90s, so probably similar in age to us, and seen them live a handful of times, last time 2011. So a concert is way overdue. Favorite studio album is Fireball. Favorite live album, Olympia 96. Good. Keep up the good work. So thank you, Michael. And I do like the deep cut for the favorite live album. I don't, generally it's made in Japan, but Michael's going deep for the Olympia 96, which was a good one. Okay, so speaking of patrons at the executive level, at the in memoriam tier, we have the wonderful late Gerald Jerry Kelly and family. At the $25 uncommon man tier, we have Ovis Nakvi and Purple Maniac. At the 15 squid tier, we have Alan. At the 10-pound good doctor tier, we have Dr. Mike Catan. And at the turn up to $11 tier, Clay Wambacher, Frank Thielgard Mortensen, Mickelstein, Will Porter, PhDPP, and Michael, don't call him Bradford Bagford. At the $10 someone came tier, Ryan M., Jeff Bryce, Victor Campos, Better Call Saul Evans. And Peter from Illinois. And at the Deep Thoughts by John Matola tier, we have Fielding Fowler.
And now, Deep Thoughts by John Matola. It's great.
I'm loving the new one.
Oh, wait a minute. Is that the same new one as before?
It's the same new one as before, yes.
Okay. I was so used to hearing like, hey, I lost it. It's like, I don't know which one the new one is. Yeah. That's a good one though.
Hey guys, I realized too, I stepped on your updates to what's going on with you. So your feet are hurting, Nate, and something about getting too much sun, John.
What's up with the sun?
Well, as I don't know if you can see. Well, my nose is very.
Oh yeah, it is.
Very red. Yeah. Yes. So damnedest thing is I went out into the sun over the weekend and forgot that it could do that.
It's been a long winter, right?
I mean, well, yeah, that's the thing, and this always happens at least once between like that kind of between the winter and the summer, like the first stretch of warm days where it's sunny, but it's still kind of cool. And so, I mean, I had a coat on and I was outside like on a walk and I wasn't thinking like, oh, wow, the sun is burning my face. And then I came in next day I go to work. Somebody's just like, they're kind of leaning in looking at me and they're just like, is that a sunburn? Yeah. I thought you got punched in the nose or something. They thought I had a bruise on my nose. I'm like, oh my God, is it that bad?
Yeah, who at work punched you in the nose?
Or at least it wasn't that you're drinking, on the job. Whatever.
I'm getting there.
So speaking of Ireland,
but actually, this is all right. So that's good for this episode. But
there you go.
But the worst part about it is like I know this will fade, but the worst part is like it's on the back of my neck too. So now I'm saddled with that farmer's tan for the rest of the summer.
It seems wrong that you can get like a sunburn when it's cool. It's like 65 degrees or something, or it's even when it's cloudy. If you're outside long enough, you can get a sunburn. It just doesn't seem like it's fair.
Yeah. So now I have 2 things of facial sunscreen. One by the little table by my front door before I leave. One in the bathroom to put on in the morning. Taking no more chances because this is the moneymaker. It can't get damaged.
Yeah, you should have called yourself John George Hamilton Matola.
he's not quite there yet.
Yeah.
It'll fade into a George Hamilton-esque tan.
Yes.
It's another reference that only people that on and will listen to this podcast will get.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was at work saying it to like kids half my age. It'd be like, George who?
Yeah.
Actually,
I was worried you guys wouldn't get that one.
No. It's solid. Yeah, I don't have anything interesting other than my feet. Just I don't know what it is about my shoes, but they're just blistered up. And I'm like not doing anything differently. I don't know what the issue is.
You're old.
I'm just falling apart, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, before we get into the meat of the episode, we have speaking of coming to us from Connecticut. We do have postcards from the edge of Connecticut.
Ooh.
And these actually are coming to us all from Nashville once again. The mystery deepens. This one just simply says Tennessee. And it says, one of Tennessee's many mills still in operation. Dear Nate, Made in Japan was a good episode 13. I don't feel unlucky. Farewell, Ralphie. Okay, this one and then you probably know the rest. This one says Nashville, where you can pig out on country music. It's a bunch of pigs at a bar.
Nice. That one.
and it says Nashville, Tennessee, having a wonderful time in Nashville with all the country music lovers. Dear Nate, I liked episode 14. John doesn't always say a lot of stuff though. Godspeed, Ralphie. And then
I guess I was quiet back then.
Yeah,
huh?
and in episode 14, you must have been a real asleep at the wheel. Then finally, although I feel we haven't seen the last of Ralphie, Grand Ole Opry, located in Nashville, Tennessee. This beautiful theater is the home of the world famous Grand Ole Opry. Of course, it's the Grand Ole Opry. Where else would it be?
Yeah, it's funny.
Right.
Dear Nate, I liked episode 15. It was similar to 14. Regards, Ralphie.
Why do I get the feeling that this isn't going to end because they're only on 14 and 15? They got hundreds of episodes to go.
I suspect that's there's some embellishment going on here.
There's still over 300 episodes. Well,
and Ralphie seems to be very persistent, committed.
See, here's the thing. They all started when Rich was in Nashville. He claims he has nothing to do with this.
Mm-hmm.
I, of course, don't believe him. And they're all being postmarked from Nashville.
Wow.
So,
Okay.
Ralphie, if you're out there, give us some more clues.
Yeah.
Because I don't know anyone.
It can't.
Really Ralphie.
It can't be possibly be Rich though, because I mean he may have orchestrated it, but it's not him.
It's not his handwriting, but
Yeah.
at first I thought, oh, he had his daughters like write this because it's kind of nice handwriting. But no, that didn't.
He's probably got a co-conspirator that lives in Nashville.
Yes.
It could be.
We can start a whole podcast about this conspiracy.
Well, I mean, I do know that the only person that I do know that could like drag out like a joke over the span of years would be Rich. He would have the commitment.
It would be like 8 years worth of jokes.
I appreciate that going to the nth degree for a joke, but yeah.
We also have this one that see, I didn't see the other side of it, which clearly says Gardot, or I wouldn't have opened it. I just got this in, and I thought it's just a yellow package, so I'll open it up. And then as soon as I opened it, I was like, oh, this has Gardot all over it. It says, Nate, here is some more software for you, Pete. And it's a CD of Internet Explorer.
Oh my goodness.
It says copyright 1995 to 1998, so I don't know which version. Does it say which version it is? Includes Service Pack 1. Ooh. So yeah, I don't know which one. Oh, Internet Explorer 4.0 for Windows 95.
Wow.
Then
memories.
And it says, Nate, maybe a reference to Toolbox for you. And it's Microsoft Encarta 95. Remember Encarta?
Oh, yeah.
Remember when media, like multimedia was going to be like the next big thing? So this is the 1995 edition, so it could have something about Toolbox in there. I'll have to install it later and see. Then I got another. This is like a big mail week for me. Another one from, it says from Peter Gardot. This is in an envelope, so I don't know. It could be old street maps. It could be anything. Let's see. It says, Nate, now here is a place for the next DPP summer convention. Peter. And it is the Hartford Current living section, and there's a giant statue of Alfred E. Newman. What is this? What's it say?
He sent the whole paper.
Yeah, Giants Among Us. The exhibits are larger than life at this one-of-a-kind museum in Central Illinois. Okay, maybe that's why. There is a giant Superman statue back there. There's that, and then there's like this guy holding a big hot dog that looks kind of inappropriate.
That's a Mr. Furley moment.
Jack!
He's outside the door. What?
You notice how Mark sounded amused but not surprised that Pete sent like an entire paper and not just...
Yeah. He's the only subscriber to the Hartford Courant that still gets the printed version.
It's all the news is like addressed directly to Pete. It's like, so Pete, you might really enjoy this. And then, not to be outdone, but so some background to this. Recently, we had Record Store Day, and the record for the movie Top Secret came out as a special for Record Store Day. And me and Nick from Pod of Thunder were talking about it, and he wasn't able to get one, and I was able to get 2 copies. So I sent him a copy. And he sent me a package in the mail, and it says, Nate, I was trying to think of a way to thank you for your incredible generosity when suddenly it came to me. Oversized Texas cookies. He sent me a bag of these gigantic cookies. That have like they're like really thick. They've got like chocolate chunks, not chocolate chips, and like Easter colored M&Ms.
Are you sure that's not a softball?
They are delicious. Yeah, I know, they're probably about 900 calories each.
So wait, did he make them?
He did. He made them.
One of his baked treats?
Yep. He sent me a CD of some of the music from Pod of Thunder.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then he sent me this beautiful drawing that he made. See if you guys can kind of... That might be a little wet. So I don't know if you can tell what it is.
It's like... Okay. I thought it was like Tony Iommi and an Irish guy.
I'm assuming that's you, Nate, on the left.
It is me on the left.
And Claude Chanel.
Yes, and Claude Schnell on the right.
Okay.
And we are roasting marshmallows, and it is inexpertly put in a frame that had some bald eagles in it. You can see them in the background.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
found that a nice touch.
Nice touch. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's me and Claude Schnell roasting marshmallows, which I thought was that's a one of a kind. That's gonna have to go back in the studio there. So
Beautiful.
very, very nice. So big appreciation to Nick for sending me those beautiful things. And then I got this this other one. This is if this is your first time listening to the episode, this isn't what it's always like, but this is just some junk mail, but it's for an investment firm, and I thought that it was pretty well written. It says, "Dear Mr. Beaudry, you're probably wondering why congratulations are in order, and I have a logical reason for you. It takes skill, perseverance, and savvy to be counted among the wealthiest Americans. To have outsaved and outinvested your peers speaks to the kind of individual you are. It should also explain the exclusive nature of this communication." Now, I don't know where they're getting their information.
Wow, that patron cachet is really building up.
Yes, I am
Wealthy,
counted among
wealthiest.
the wealthiest Americans. I was like,
Hey,
yeah, I'm in the
congrats,
wealthiest 90% of Americans.
Wow. Nate's the top 1%. That's who's been screwing us.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm the man. So yeah, and it goes on and on. It giving me 99 retirement tips and all that. It says, if you do, it says. What does it say? Now, suppose you skim through 99 retirement tips or maximize your Social Security for retirement and agree with the conclusions. Then what? Then nothing. Unless you decide to discuss your own circumstances with us. If you do, nothing may come of it, or something may come of it. One of us may decide we're not a good fit. One of us may say thanks, but no thanks. Or both of us may say, let's do business together. I just thought this was some great writing.
Oh, I
hell is
also
that?
loved your animation reading it, Nate.
Yeah.
It was like you were reading Shakespeare or something.
It was. I mean, it's on par with that. Whoever wrote this copy. This is from Fisher Investments,
Yeah.
Wow.
a private
Nate,
client group.
you make junk mail sound very intriguing.
Yes.
Well, they should have me recite it because I don't know how many people they're going to rope with this scheme.
There's somebody out there.
Let's come. I was like, oh, there's some guy with like potato chip crumbs all over his shirt. I'm one of the wealthiest Americans. I got to do business with these people. 99 tips. That's a lot of tips. But anyway, enough of that. It's time to get to, as we discussed, Rory Gallagher / Gallagher. And of course, if you're listening to this, don't forget, who do we think we are? Patron rankings due August 18th. So if you want to participate in that show, let us know. And Mark, you should probably take it away with your history with this album and kind of what it means to you and all of that.
Yeah. So Calling Card, as we mentioned, it was produced by Roger Glover. It's one of, a lot of people consider it perhaps Rory's best studio album, or certainly one of the best. There's a couple of tracks on here that I would say are in my list of probably top 5 favorite tracks that Rory put out. It was recorded in Musicland Studios, very famous studio in Germany. And I did some research, found quite a few things, actually, some interviews with Rory's longtime bass player, Jerry McAvoy, and he talked about it. And what was kind of unfortunate doing the research is apparently you'd think, what we know of Roger Glover, real nice guy, seems to be kind of a low-key guy. What we know about Rory Gallagher is very nice guy, very gentlemanly. Everybody says, nicest guys you want to meet. But apparently it was kind of a contentious recording session. And I think you can attribute that probably a lot to Rory being, they said he struggled in the studio. He really felt he could never get the live sound, which, live performance. the albums that he recorded previous to this, his bass player said they almost recorded those albums practically live. They would just, play them live a bunch of times, very few overdubs, if any, pick the best, best laid down track and go with that one. In fact, Jerry said there's, I believe it's off this first album, there's a track called Laundromat, and there's a big, maybe not a big, but a bass mistake in it, and it got left in. And Jerry said, every time I hear that track, it's like I hear my mistake. But he goes, but Rory was like, nope, that's the track we want. We're not doing it again. It came out well. So yeah, but Rory's brother Donald said that unfortunately, after the album was all done, Rory actually had it remixed, and Roger was none too happy about that. You can imagine why. And but he also said, to his knowledge, Rory and Roger never had words about it, or a fight about it. So I think it's my conjecture that this was the second album on the label Chrysalis that Rory put out. And I wonder if the record company kind of forced them to bring in an outside producer, and he brought in Roger because he knew Roger. They had toured quite a bit in 1973, and according to Rory's brother, they got along great. And also Rory's brother said that the guys in Deep Purple, they kind of were encouraging Rory to release a single because, to get his popularity up. But he was very, very stubborn about that as well. He just kind of refused. He didn't want to suddenly be owned by that whole machine, basically, where, okay, you put out a single and it's a hit. Now what's the next one? Mm-hmm. He thought he would lose his musical integrity. So that's what was kind of going on behind the scenes. But speaking of touring, I meant to bring this up. So on the date we're recording this episode, Nate, how far are you from Kankakee, Illinois?
Not very far. Maybe an hour.
Yeah. Because on this date, Deep Purple played at the Kankakee Community College along with Fleetwood Mac and Rory Gallagher.
There you go.
Yeah, and it was at the Abraham Lincoln Gym, which sounds like a very small venue for that lineup.
It sounds like a high school too.
But so Abraham Lincoln, did he say, this is not the blues? I don't know.
Don't sit up in the balcony.
Yeah, exactly.
There's not a lot of things in Illinois that aren't named after Abraham Lincoln. So.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. It's and if I'm not, I think I'm right. I think he produced all of his albums up until this one, right?
Right. And even after this one, he kind of co-produced albums, and he talked about one of his problems with bringing in outside producers is he said, a lot of times they have their schedule and it's like, okay, you got to be, in the studio this time, and I only have this much time to be there because I got to go off to this other project. And I think Rory didn't like to be confined with to that as well. So he and Rory, they said, really struggled in the studio. He kind of became like a perfectionist as time went on too, and just that was a struggle, I think, for him just alone. So to bring in someone else and kind of have them, trying to do their vision. But I'm sure Roger was just trying to do his job and trying to put out a good album. And when all is said and done, I think it's a good album that they both should be proud of, whatever went on. You look at some of the greatest albums of all time, and there was contention.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
During the recording between.
I mean, look at the band we cover on a regular basis.
Yeah. I'm sure there was a few things going on. Yeah, for sure. But one of the things in my research, I don't want to talk too much. I go into a lot of this detail on the Haskin cast.
Yeah, we'll put the links to your Haskin cast episodes because I think I've listened. Part 2 came out like last week, right?
Yeah.
So I haven't checked that one out, but part 1 was great. So I'm excited to check out part 2.
Yeah.
And then you just recorded part 3 today.
Yeah.
Oh,
but one thing I wanted to bring up is that apparently I read a little interview with David Coverdale, and he said he was hanging out at the studio at that time.
Oh, yeah, because he would been working on Whitesnake, right?
Yeah. And so he said he would go down and just hang out while they were recording. Maybe he caused some friction. I don't know. But he was
often cause friction.
Yeah. But he was joking that Rory had a bunch of books about Catholicism down there. So, yeah, Rory was supposedly a very devout Catholic. So,
really?
Yeah.
And as we record this, it is the first day of the conclave. So no new pope yet.
Yeah.
But by the time this comes out, probably new pope. We'll see. Yeah, it is interesting. Rory's connection with Deep Purple and then doing all of this stuff in Music Land. And it's like, it's interesting because he's so, if you've ever seen him live, he's just such a great improvisational player. And I wonder if he just, when the tapes were rolling, was just second guessing everything. And it's difficult because I'm not comparing myself to Rory Gallagher, but like when we do this show and everything's just off the cuff and we're just chatting, it's like fine. But then the rare occasion where I've had to record, like I've done guest episodes for other shows or guest things, I can't even make it through a sentence without it's like, oh, that was stupid, and I have to go back and like record it over, but if you're just like off the cuff talking, it kind of goes, it disappears into the ether and it's fine. But you start second guessing everything when you know it's going to be put down and like, this is the album and should be like the definitive version of the song.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
Maybe just the stress of that was like just too much. Because he had a fair number of studio. This is, I think, his sixth studio album?
Yeah.
Correctly?
Yeah, and I should know off the top of my head how many he put out. Was it 11, I think, studio albums?
So I'll buy it.
Yeah, I have it somewhere. But he put out most of his albums in the 70s. He only put out 3 after 1979, I think.
Yeah. And everything, most of the stuff, like I said, my father-in-law has always been a huge fan, but most of the stuff I've seen him consume have just been like live recordings and watching him in YouTube videos, not necessarily putting on the albums.
Yeah, in fact, like I always talk about his Irish Tour 74 album. I rank that album up there with things like Made in Japan and Live at the Fillmore East. Like it's a great album. And several of the songs on that album were off his studio album Tattoo. And it's like, no, I like the versions of the songs off that, but they're head and shoulders below what I think he did live with the songs. So,
yeah.
I mean, I've heard that what little I do know. I mean, I did do a little research, so I wouldn't be sitting here like a dummy the whole time. But that he's, that kind of tracks with what I've read, is that he is one of those musicians that was far superior live to on the record. One of those where you'd watch. So it doesn't surprise me that live albums or live shows, you guys are talking about enjoying seeing those more than listening to the album. Kind of like what Purple does or many other live bands. So like a lot more spontaneity and extending out solos. Is that right?
Yeah, and I think like it's funny, Scott. He like doesn't like live stuff. I've actually learned necessarily. He's not a big fan. But I think I'm the opposite in a way, because even Deep Purple, I got to say that I forget which, maybe it's off Made in Japan, but the Child in Time, I really like the live version better, yeah, but that's taste,
Yeah, it's some songs and some artists are just designed to be consumed live, and I generally prefer live versions of Child in Time more so than the studio. Although nothing wrong with that. It's a great track as well.
Yeah.
And Rory's son is named, Richie's son is named Rory. And I've heard conflicting news on that he's either named after Rory Gallagher or not named after Rory Gallagher. But his middle name is D'Artagnan, which is very, very Richie.
Yeah. And of course, so Richie, said some nice things about Rory. One of the things I mentioned this on the Haskin cast is Richie, I think it was when Rory passed away. He passed away in 1995, but Richie said, they toured a lot in April and May of 1973. And Richie said he never saw Rory play the same solo twice. Mm-hmm. And what I found interesting about that is not so much just his commenting on not playing the same solo twice, but like Richie was listening to him, It's, this guy's opening for the band and they're huge at that point. And then, he thought enough of them to listen to him. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And isn't there that Clapton quote that gets attributed to, like, he says it almost about everybody, it's probably fake?
It's Hendrix, actually.
Oh, Hendrix. I've heard it from Clapton too. So it's probably just like one of those fake quotes that just keeps getting rewritten.
Yeah.
Where he gets asked, like, what's it like to be the greatest guitarist in the world? I don't know. Go ask Rory Gallagher. And then I think they have Clapton being asked it, and he says, I don't know. Ask Prince. And like, there's just like all of these different people. So
yeah. Who's the best guy in the Deep Purple podcast? It's like, I don't know, ask John or whatever, ask Nate. I'm going to start using that one, actually. I'll spread that rumor. So, show up on the, Twitter or whatever. It's like,
yeah, what's it like to be the best hosts of the best podcast? I don't know. Go ask Mark and Pete.
Yeah.
For me, I'd be like, well, I mean, I don't want to brag, but I wouldn't even. So, I mean, it feels good, and no, he's not getting the joke.
Yeah. Or then it'd be, he's so humble.
Humility is his greatest aspect.
Feels good.
So on this album, we have, as Mark just said, Jerry McAvoy on bass, formerly of the band Deep Joy. He played with Gallagher between 1970 and 1991. We have on drums, a very Irish-sounding Rod D'Ath, who played with Screaming Lord Sutch, and he played in the band Killing Floor with who we're going to mention next, who is Lou Martin, the bass player. Rod D'Ath passed away in... am I pronouncing that right, by the way? I have no idea.
I have no idea either.
Okay. Okay, we'll call him Gallagher. Sadly passed away in 2014. And then on keyboards, again, Lou Martin, who was in the band with Roth D'Ath. And funny enough, if you look at this up on Discord, it's like on guitar and vocals is he's uncredited for both Rory Gallagher. It's like they don't list him in the liner notes, but I mean, obviously the name of the album artist is Rory Gallagher, so you probably piece it together.
Like, I guess he's on it too, I think.
He's uncredited. Who is that mystery guitar player on this Rory Gallagher album?
Yeah.
And then of course he was with the band Taste, and then later Taste, which was a big 60s band.
I was just going to say, was it the 60s?
The Taste.
Pete, long before like even bands or stuff, Pete always either adds in the or takes it away for stuff.
Yes, that's why he's the Gardeau.
Yeah. And it's just, that always cracks me up. It's like, well, which one is it? The Sweet is always one that comes up on our podcast. Yeah. It's like, is the Sweet or is it Sweet?
And isn't that's another one that changed, like the Sweet, and it changed to Sweet. Even like Pink Floyd was the Pink Floyd at one point, like in the early, at the early part of the band.
Craziness back in the 60s.
I know, they just used articles like crazy.
Oh, recklessly.
Reckless use of articles.
The reckless use of the.
Crazy. Those crazy hippies. And then it was engineered by simply Hans, who was an engineer at Music Lane Studios. He worked on Stormbringer. He worked with David Coverdale solo, Ian Gillan Band on the Child in Time album. And also,
Hans, I heard of him.
You heard of Hans. Everyone's heard of Hans.
Yeah. Die Hard.
And then
Hans Gruber.
Yes, Hans.
We know Pete, never seen it.
Yeah.
Never saw it. And then we've got Mac as the other engineer. Reinhold Mac worked with Hans, and then he worked with Queen, ELO, John Lord solo, Donna Summer, and the Rolling Stones. So, so pretty good lineup. And obviously, these folks are working with these amazing people because Musicland was a huge studio, so people were coming through. And you sent me that interview with Rory Gallagher where he was talking about Musicland, and the thing that they loved about it, part of it was the fact that it was a tax dodge that they could get out of the country, but the other part was it's in the basement of the Arabella Hotel in Munich, and they could just be in the hotel, go downstairs, record, and go right back upstairs, and not have to deal with traffic or travel or any of that. So,
Sounds
then
like my
we
kind of
have,
place.
what's the next thing here? So that's the technical end. Then we have the album artwork, a pretty standard, I would say, album cover. Nothing too crazy, but here is the album cover for Calling Card. John, Mark, what do you think?
All right. I didn't look at this ahead of time. I thought while I was waiting for it to come up, I'm like, if it's like a friggin' business card, I'm gonna be like, come on.
Oh. Yeah, that would be a little too on the nose.
Yeah.
Instead, it just looks like one of those outtake pictures that are just like, Rory, huh? Click.
Yeah.
All right, we got it. Let's go home. We don't have enough money to reshoot this. You just kind of
Let's not developing all kinds of pictures here. We're taking one shot.
Well, I asked Nate if he was going to bring up the album art because this album cover kind of cracks me up. I mean, Rory was known to nothing specials with the album cover. The Irish Tour 74 album cover, it's like a blue album cover with that red stenciled like paint, and it just says Irish Tour 74. That's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But if I were naming this album cover, if you just showed me the picture and I said, come up with a name for the album, I would have been Rory Gallagher. What the fuck? Like he doesn't even finish the expletive because his face looks like you just showed him something like, this was 1976. So it's like, oh, the guy that just won the decathlon in the Olympics, this is what he looks like in 2025.
I think that's just the beginning of what his face would look like.
Yeah. What?
Yeah, it's just they could have called this anything. Confused man. Like
yeah. I've just seen a car accident,
Yeah, he kind of looks like a, I don't know, he could have been like Coverdale's brother or something. He looks, what I mean? Like he looks like early Coverdale, but I mean I mean, even if they didn't call it Calling Card, it's just kind of an odd, I guess, album cover. Just, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I mean, they did that kind of stuff a lot in the 70s. Remember there was, Nate, I can't remember which band it was where they had, it was a bunch of guys on it, and we were just joking about how they looked like they weren't even ready for the picture. One guy looks like he didn't give a shit, It was like that was
pretty standard.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, the Glenn Hughes Soulful Christmas. I mean, we talked about that before. It's like,
that was probably the original. Original
throwback.
He looks like his friend just asked him to help him move.
Yeah.
He's like,
Rory Gallagher, I don't want to help you move.
He looks like he's just trying to very quickly think of an excuse.
Yeah.
And in the middle of it, they snap the picture.
Yeah.
I mean, that being said, it looks like a very 70s cover.
Oh yeah.
Like I mean, like if you're just like, what year was this put out? I'd be like mid 70s, probably early mid 70s. That's the kind of, I mean, it looks like what an album cover would look like then, even down to the confused man on the front. So
yeah. It's I mean, especially like a solo artist, quote unquote. He had his band, obviously, but it's just, you could picture someone else like a James Taylor or, another singer-songwriter, and it's just they have some picture on the front that somebody thought it was good.
You could replace this picture with the same pose of just about any single, like you said, James Taylor or Paul Simon or whoever from that era.
Yeah.
It's pretty standard. So the CD release, this is from the EU reissue that's got some bonus tracks. We won't get into the bonus tracks, but just to the album tracks today. And then the back of this is from a CD. The back of the CD is a much more happy Rory Gallagher. Looks like this is the one where he's like he doesn't know the picture's gonna get taken. They're like, "Oh, you're taking pictures?" And then he smiles and like, "Okay."
And then this is the part where he finds out, like, "Oh, wait a minute, I don't need your help after all."
Yeah. Oh, wait, my friend just got back to me. He's gonna help me move.
the joy, the pure joy on his face.
I don't think I've ever seen him look happier.
I mean, could you imagine a happier situation?
I'm not driving you to the airport.
That's another one. Oh, Jesus, you want me to drive you to the airport? And then the back, fooled you. Oh, good, all right.
Then the inside of it has this kind of like the flight case that says Rory Gallagher with like the stencil on it, and the his guitar leaning up against it. But yeah, nothing too crazy album cover wise. The album cover was done by Cook Key Associates, who only had a few other album covers on Discogs, but the photography was by Mike Putland. English musical photography, passed away in 2019, but he worked with Paul McCartney, T-Rex, Elton John, the Rolling Stones. The list goes on and on. Just you name it, he probably worked with them. Hundreds and hundreds of credits on Discogs. Okay, so before we get into the actual tracks on the album, we must do one thing, and that is, of course, to thank our core level patrons. Coming in at the $6.99 new nice price tier, we have Spike's Ghost and Sugar Tea. At the episode $6.66 tier, we have Steve Coldwell.
Steve.
Arthur Smith.
Getting support from the patron Arthur Smith.
Anton Glaving.
Pain in the glaving.
And Charles Meadows. At the $6.65 almost evil tier, we have Mr. Kenny Wymore and Richie Sucksmith. At the 70 Norwegian kroner tier, we have Kai Runa, yes, I'm Norwegian, Olsen.
It's a great life in the Norwegian.
At the €5.50 tier, we have Merlin Rota. At the $5 money lender tier, we have John Convery, German Heindel, Adrian Hernandez, Jesper Alman, Alexei the Perfect Stranger Slepikov, Kev Roberts, Percival Frequency, Scott Zerns, Cynthia Doobie, Raf Calf,
My Czechoslovakian is not so good.
Coyote Bongwater, John Maselli,
Dirt is my enemy.
Sarah Sanders,
No, Kelly Clarkson.
Jelly Bean, Evan Robeson, Richard Fusey, and Purple Swede.
Swede?
Sweet, 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 sweet.
Thank you so much to all of you for your generous support of the Deep Purple podcast.
All right,
Quite a few of those jingles are Mark Roback creations or inspirations. Now that I think about it, while he's on the show.
So what was with JLT getting swapped out with Czechoslovakian?
My Czechoslovakian is not so good.
Oh, is that Casey Kasem?
It is. It's Casey. That was in honor of Mark being on the show.
Okay,
as soon as he said it, I heard it. But before that, I'm like, who is that?
I didn't. Yeah, I didn't hear it the first time. I think because I wasn't ready. You know?
Yeah, it caught you off guard.
Yeah.
That was actually sent to me by Pete. So just the word Czechoslovakia in case
Wow.
you would know, with no no reference. No, just like I was like, oh, he knows that I can use this.
Well,
I,
that's something that now we can say that Casey Kasem has said Czechoslovakian before.
Yeah, we have
Something
proof.
I wouldn't have guessed.
Yeah, I put out on our Blue Sky and X machine, as Pete calls it, the other day. I watch a lot of old 70s TV shows because I'm retired, and I'm turning into Pops Matola. Actually, I think I'm living his lifestyle, which is great. But Casey
only we all
Kasem
could.
yeah, Casey Kasem was on an episode of Police Story.
Oh wow!
Yeah. He did a little bit of acting. He was on Saved by the Bell as himself. I know. I saw that as well.
And he did the voice of so many cartoons.
Yeah.
He was one of those things. Like as a kid, I didn't realize that this was the same guy.
Yeah,
Shaggy and Casey Kasem were the same guy.
Yeah,
kind of wild. And then his wife was the Louis Tully's sort of dance partner in Ghostbusters. That scene, his wife was in things, you know.
Yeah.
Remember with like the blonde hair? Remember?
Yeah, she was on Cheers.
With him.
Yeah, she was on Cheers for a while too.
She was what's his name's wife? Nick. Oh, Nick, Carla's ex.
Yeah.
She was his wife on Cheers, yeah.
Wow.
See that? All right. So are we ready to get into the tracks?
Yes.
All right. This first track up, opener for Rory Gallagher's calling card is Do You Read Me? Love that dry drum production.
Yeah.
Sounds so good.
But it has a lot of depth to it.
Yep. You can hear it. You feel the room. And of course, Rory Gallagher was he was kind of on the short list for Richie replacement in Deep Purple. Although it's one of those things where it's like he's on the list, but that doesn't mean he would have said yes.
Yeah, he was also
considered, right?
He was also considered to replace Mick Taylor in the Rolling Stones as well.
Oh wow.
One thing I want to mention as we get into the music is I re-listened to this album recently because I knew this was coming up, and I think Glenn Hughes could have been the vocalist on a lot of these songs on this album, and it would have sounded great. I'd love to hear him cover some of these, actually.
I can hear that.
Yeah, another one. As soon as you said that, I could hear him going, his voice going very well over this. His 70s voice, yeah.
Yeah, and this is a little funky.
Damn funky.
Yeah.
And you said he pretty much used the same guitar like his whole career, right?
He did play other things, but his favorite was the Fender Strat. It's actually a famous guitar. It got auctioned off earlier this year. Went for close to £1 million. And it's going to be displayed in Ireland. And on Channel 18, I'm holding up my refrigerator magnet. I got Irish rock and roll.
How much
museum.
was that? Was it how close to £1 million was that?
Not a lot. not very close at all. Yeah, I got two of them. So
What's really interesting about this production is that we talked about how the drums are kind of surrounding you, but the guitar is hard panned right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's the keyboard is hard pan left.
Yep.
And his voice is just kind of in the back a little bit. It's not produced like up front. It's a very interesting mix.
And I don't know, when Rory remixed it, and he remixed it with somebody, I forget who it was, but I don't know what was done. Was it the whole thing was remixed or just tweaked here and there?
Now this is after his sessions with Roger.
Yeah. I don't think that original recording is out there anywhere to listen to.
So Roger was still listed as a producer, though.
Yeah.
I mean, he still produced it. Just
Well, yeah, but I
mix it.
wonder how much they messed with it from his original vision.
It's got a great guitar tone. And do you know, was he like one of those guys who was like a little insecure about his voice?
Well, he never had another singer, but
Yeah.
I mean, he was essentially loved the blues, and the blues. It's not like you're usually going like all over ranges and everything singing the blues,
Yeah.
but
I think he's got a great voice. I love his voice. I just a lot of times like there'll be like people like this that are amazing guitar players and passable singers, but don't really want anyone else to sing it, but then they're also insecure about it at the same time. But
yeah,
his voice fits the music perfectly.
yeah. Rich doesn't like his voice. He mentioned that. No, but Rich is a singer.
Well, yeah, I mean to be fair, like he's can be very, very critical of singers, but I mean, I think that's what you do if you're fluent in an instrument. You're going to be looking at it from that angle.
Yeah. Also, not everybody can be a Gillan or a Coverdale or a Dio.
Yeah, that's true.
Those guys were specialized singers.
To that point, Hughes might have been jazzing it up maybe a little too much.
Yeah.
All right. Do You Read Me? Gentlemen, what do you think of this track?
Well, I'll let you guys go first. I don't, I'm a fanboy, so I don't want to rate
Should I just
things
put you down
too
for fives down the
high.
board?
It won't be fives down the board because I also can be critical of the music, but I'm curious to what you guys say.
All right. John?
Sorry, I was just getting into the spreadsheet fumbling around with it. Do you read me? Yeah, let's see. Yeah, I give it a 3.5. Thought it was a solid opener. Yeah, it had like I don't know. I wish that the him being the namesake of the album, guitar player, etc. Wish that the guitar was a little more up front, that it got the kind of the cinemascope treatment that the drums did, but all in all, I mean, it's a 70s album, 70s production, and I mean, you could tell, and I'm sure that I've heard some stuff from him, but just first critical listen is you can tell that he's got the phrasing, he's got the chops, he's not just some schlep that's just in a 70s band, so yeah, so far, like really good, good bluesy voice. Yeah, I haven't heard anything yet that kind of sets it apart, or like you said, makes him a Gillan or a Dio or something like that. But pretty solid stuff. I mean, definitely in our wheelhouse, so I can see why everybody likes him.
I will give this one a 4. I really like it as an album opener, and I just like I agree. He's not coming out of the gate showing off his guitar playing, but like the groove of this song and his fills and everything are just really strong.
Yeah, I'm going to go 4 also. it's a solid track, and as I mentioned, I kind of like the funkiness of this track. It's kind of not, if you had listened to his previous studio albums, it's kind of not what you would have expected, I think, here coming into this. So, but I agree with John. I didn't necessarily like the guitar just in the left, mix. That was a little bit distracting to me. So I would have liked, again, as you said, it's like it's a 70s production, and it's kind of made for like, well, you'd put the album on and you'd have your two speakers on each end of the room or however, and so maybe it sounded different there. But
you know what Roger Glover would say? Well, it wouldn't happen if I had mixed it.
Yeah. Who knows if that was Rory that did that?
I would have had it all hard pinned to the left instead of the right.
And to your point with the question about, was Rory, self-conscious about his voice? Because, his voice did seem to be a little bit back in the mix as well. So did he pull that back? I don't know. Who knows what he did, or he could have done some really minor stuff like, I just didn't like, the bass on this part or something. Yeah, who knows?
Yeah, I find it to be a little distracting when there's vocals and they aren't kind of the center point. At least vocals that are like saying words and not just doing oohs and ahs or whatever. But I feel like the vocals should have been a little bit more upfront and in your face, because as long as there's vocals in a song, I mean, it's hard to argue that that's not the centerpiece unless you move to an instrumental music solo.
Yeah.
And I just noticed earlier, but forgot to ask, is the shirt in the background a tribute to Rory as well?
Well, it kind of would be, but this is a very old shirt. It's like a quilted shirt that I just kind of hang around if I got to step outside or something. It's a Sears shirt. It's got that Craftsman, the tools used to be this color or whatever.
Oh, right. It's a Sears Roebuck shirt back there.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. It looks like something Rory would wear.
Absolutely. Yeah. He was known for wearing checked flannel shirts.
Long before those clowns in Seattle started doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, they released an album of his live stuff a few years ago, posthumously, of course, and it was called Check Shirt Wizard.
Pretty good. All right. So should we move on to the next track?
Yes.
All right, here we go. Country Mile.
Did you hear what I said? I'm born in a house with no snakes, but I wouldn't switch if didn't have a stitch. Always been out on a limb, I've been hard to mend like a kick in the shin. You'll only see me smile when I eat up a country mile. Running the green light, a mission to move, something to prove, an itch in my shoe. I had the wheel of a train from a burning stack and I jumped on the back.
Man, that cymbal sounds almost like an anvil in the background.
When I eat up a country mile. Yeah! Gotta make tracks, gotta lose some rust. Grease my heels, I'll race the bus. Don't blink your eyes, you won't see me again.
This song's very cool.
It's kind of like if Deep Purple was a country shuffle band. You got this dueling short little vocal and then a dueling guitar and piano.
And I should mention, this was the period where Rory had a keyboard player. And that was atypical throughout his career, actually.
How long was this keyboard player with him?
I think it was only 3 albums.
Oh, wow.
In the mid-70s. But I think it was when he was at his best. I think the band really had a good sound. He preferred the 3-piece because he just liked the raw sound of it.
Yeah, yep. It's a cool, very super high tempo shuffle.
See, this kind of playing makes me think of something like Richie might do.
Yep.
Yeah, Scott was mentioning that he could hear certain things Richie would do in a lot of the tracks we listened to.
Oh, listen to that. That picking is crazy.
Nate being able to go is very impressive too.
It is. Yeah.
He's got he's like palm muting, but like doing these like super fast staccato little runs. It's great stuff.
It's like me trying to do Porky Pig. I can't. I'm like a ba-dee-ba-da-ba-dee-ba-da-ba-dee-ba-da. That's all, folks.
I don't know. I think that was spot on.
Nate, you could in post-production you could speed that up and it would sound just like Porky.
I could speed it up at 400%.
Yeah, then it would be perfect.
That's all, folks.
But yeah, that's the speed that I can naturally perform it at.
Okay. So, Country Mile. John, what do you think?
Yeah, that was a good one. I feel very unique. I got to give it a 4.
All right.
Very quick paced, kind of a barroom blues rock track. Good groove. Kind of, I guess because of that picking, it's kind of got that country-ish type flavor to it, but I don't really like country, so I mean, it's like feels like it's more like hardcore, like authentic type country. Great. Yeah, just some great playing in it. It's like it's not what I thought I would hear on this. Probably because I don't really know what he's like as an artist, but it's definitely different from your typical 70s rock stuff. So. But yeah, very, very cool track. Very like caught me off guard. Very different.
All right. Okay, I will give it a 3.5. I really liked this one too, just not quite as much as the opener. But I thought it kind of had that. There's some songs that just sound like they kind of have like a chugga, like a train sort of rhythm to them. And I don't know, I liked it. It's good stuff.
Yeah, I'm actually going to go to 3.5 as well. I think I'm with you, Nate. After the opening track, I like this one a little bit less, but it's, as you guys were saying, it's unique. If you listen to the lyrics closely, he is kind of talking about a train, so the music fits perfectly with the lyrics. And should mention, Rory, he essentially wrote all his songs. It's one thing that he gets credit for being a great guitar player, but as a songwriter, he was pretty prolific. And he was a fan of what they called country blues or rural blues, and he kind of dabbled in some songs that you could almost consider to be country or southern rock. And he said he was a fan of Waylon Jennings too.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting because it shows you the diversity of his songwriting, because it's nothing like the first song. It's something completely different. And then probably the song I know best on this album is coming up next. And again, I think it'll take a turn that if you're not familiar with this album or with the artist, you'd be like, wow, he's not sticking to one thing, is he? He's kind of all over the place.
Yeah, it's a very eclectic album, actually.
Yeah, and that's my kind of thing. I really like an album where it's you don't just listen to it and say, oh, it's another one of these. It's really a lot of different stuff. So the next track up is a track called Moonchild. This to me sounds like pure Rainbow. Every time I hear it, I'm like, this could easily be on one of that Dio era albums.
Yeah, it definitely has more of a kind of a cosmic or psychedelic type feel to it. Whereas the other one, you're like, oh, okay, so this is kind of like a down home, like country, like ish rock album. Nope. And you kind of have this. Almost sounds like it's from the '60s or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and yep. I think I'll wait till the song's done. We'll talk a little bit about the opening riff too.
Nice. Just throws that in.
So like that, I guess he likes to be hard panned in one channel.
Yeah, it's in the other channel now.
Yeah. That kind of bugs me a little bit because I would kind of want to hear him in stereo, but it's okay. They're experimenting.
His voice is a lot smoother in this one too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not going for that growl. Yeah, I feel like this should have been a stereo guitar solo.
Yeah, or maybe even panning. Just kind of giving the energy of the song,
But-
the vibe.
Yeah, I like it's got that frantic sort of Lost in Hollywood or one of those Rainbow songs that just starts off like with that frantic energy right away.
Yeah.
But I mean, to Mark's earlier point, this was kind of, at this point in the 70s, I think having those, not that it's 100% hard panned, but it's pretty well into that left speaker.
Kind of picked up on a good bass groove here.
Yeah, his bass player was good. Rolling Stones at one point called him pedantic, but
Well, if Rolling Stone was shitting on him, then you know he was good.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
Pedantic. Shut up.
yeah.
What's wrong?
Shallow and pedantic.
Yeah.
This is really giving me a lot of like Captain Beyond type vibes too.
Oh, yeah. Good call. What song is it? Is it like Armworth or something? That's kind of like.
Yeah, it was
similar
one of those. Yeah,
I
that
can
had
never
a,
remember the names.
and it was funny. I was actually listening to it like maybe in the past week, and it had that type of riff or like a melody to it. So, but it's not played heavy. It's played kind of like mellow, psychedelic-ish. So it kind of gave the same type of vibe. So,
Yep. All right, John. What do you think of Moonchild?
Moonchild. I'll give it a 3.5. I thought it was interesting. It was a very interesting kind of departure from what we've already heard. Um, so yeah, I think it's yeah, it's kind of, I guess kind of psychedelic feeling is the best way that I can describe it. It's kind of got this late 60s kind of quality to it. Like you can tell already the first three songs, it sounds like one of you guys was saying before, it sounds like he's not getting locked into doing one type of style or songwriting or whatever. He's just kind of going all over. And Yeah, so far the leads are pretty decent too. Like you can tell that he would probably be a better live musician because the solos are good, but you can tell that he's not like busting loose, like,
Hmm.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I just wonder if like live, you could probably extend this song to be 15 minutes long easily. I'm not
Oh
sure that he
yeah.
did do that, but I would not be surprised.
No, but that's what
if
it
he did.
feels like is like because of the things that I've read and that what we talked about before he was a much more comfortable as a live performer, so you can kind of tell is like this stuff is good, but you can hear, like you said, if he was going to play this live, would it have been like a 20-minute long song with all sorts of jams and really intense guitar playing. um but yeah, I thought it was good. Again, not what I expected.
I will give this one a 4.5. I
Oh,
really, I really like this one a lot. Ever since the first time I heard it, I was just like, wow, I don't know why. I must have heard it because I knew Glover produced this album, but I was like I knew him as the blues player, but I wasn't expecting something like this from him, and I really appreciated it. It's like that. What's that song on the Elf album that just totally catches you by surprise? I can't remember the name of it.
oh, the
You know what I'm
first
talking
one?
about, but yeah, it's the first Elf album where it's just all these honky tonk songs, and then it's just one song out of nowhere that's like, whoa, I hope they go in this
Yeah.
direction. That's right back to honky tonk.
I can't remember.
But yeah, it reminds me of that, except on this album, it's not that same breath of fresh air because everything else on it's really good too. It's just it's in a direction I'm not expecting. So
All right. Well, I'm going to give this one a 5. It's one of my
Oh,
top probably 5 Rory tracks. I really
hmm.
like it, and I'm talking about the opening riff. And discussed this on the Haskin cast. There's a couple people who have done videos on YouTube, and they're like, every heavy metal band in the 80s stole that opening riff. Not stole, but used that same opening riff. One of the ones that came to mind was 2 Minutes to Midnight,
Mm.
Iron Maiden.
Oh, all
But
right.
then somebody else pointed out, oh, the Moody Blues Story in Your Eyes from 1968, I think, sounds a lot like that opening riff too. So, it's not like anything original, but it is kind of, it's funny with Rory Gallagher. Particularly in the U.S., you mention his name and nobody knows him. But if you talk to serious guitar players, they know who he is, and so he was influential with a lot of those heavy metal guys too.
Yep.
Vivian Campbell, he's one that cites him as an influence.
Oh, well, yeah, that would make sense because Vivian Campbell was Irish as
Yep.
well,
He
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
He isn't anymore.
or is. Is. No, but yeah, I was just saying you have to, be be Irish to be influenced by him. But it would make sense that if he were younger and he knew of him and he wasn't popular, if it was like one of his hometown type heroes or home
Yeah.
country
Yep.
type people, they'd know him better over
Oh
there.
yeah. Probably saw him live.
Yeah.
When he was younger. Yeah.
It makes me this always makes me think of a movie that I know John saw, Mark maybe not, but the Never Ending Story.
Yeah.
At the end, he has to name the princess, and he names her Moonchild.
Oh.
He just like, I remember when I was a kid and just not understanding that because he like yells. I couldn't understand what he was saying first of all, but then later on I figured out his mom was named Moonchild, so he named the princess Moonchild. I'm like, what kind of? She would have been too old to be a like child of hippies, So why was she named Moonchild? I don't know.
I don't know. I didn't even know what her name was until the internet came around because,
Right? Yeah.
or at least closed captioning.
Moonchild, and yeah, I had no idea. I was like, wait, what was his mom's name?
That's fun. That's funny. I'm thinking of, I don't know if you guys have ever seen Rollerball. I'm sure Pete hasn't seen it, but it's a dystopian with James Caan.
Oh yeah.
It's like roller derby, only it's real violent.
But it's like to the death.
Yeah, but there's his like one of the players on his team is nicknamed Moon Pie. And he's getting beat up in the corner, and James Caan's yelling "Moon Pie."
That's one of those ones that I know I've seen bits and pieces of it, but it was always like on the shelf at Blockbuster, and it was always like almost, and then I didn't quite.
It's a cool movie. They remade it in, I think, the 2000s, and of course the remake absolutely sucked. It was like, it's actually a pretty good watch, entertaining. Yeah.
Oh, actually, I do have this very brief interview snippet about Moonchild, so let's listen to this. That Mark sent. So let's take a listen.
Moonchild, great rocker. Yeah, how'd that come out?
Okay, now let me make it so it doesn't sound like that.
Yeah, it's an odd recording.
Sorry, it was I accidentally warped it like I was going to make a hip hop beat out of it. Here we go. Moonchild.
Moonchild, great rocker. Yeah, how'd that come about?
I had lyrics in the notebook for maybe a year and a half or something. I was just playing around with that word Moonchild, the old Zodiac thing, and I just kept thinking about it and trying to work out a way about of translating this thought, whatever it was, and then I had this riff or figure, that opening thing, and then it just clicked one night, and I realized that they were made for each other, and that's one of my favorites as well. It's quite a harsh rocker, but the vocal and the lyrics are fairly not harsh, and that's still one of my favorites. Yeah.
So apparently, Moonchild is associated with the Cancer sign in the zodiac. So
yeah, that zodiac thing. I liked how he said that.
That whole zodiac thing. That freaky deaky zodiac.
It's always funny just to make a comment, like when you hear like an interview with Ian Gillan or then like an interview with Rory here, it's like you don't expect the accent because sounds like American English when they're singing. It's just like whoa, this guy's got
the classic. Okay, now guess what? It's time for the titular calling card. So pedantic.
Yeah.
Just going into that straight up blues.
I love the lyrics to this song.
I'm gonna have to read along here.
About where it lands, it'll find you hiding no matter where you stand. It's gonna rain, brother, and it's gonna rain hard when the blues comes calling with his calling card. It ain't too funny.
I could picture Husey doing that.
Yeah. Really hamming it up.
So bad for a million years. Watch out, brother. Be alert. But whatever you do, don't show that hurt. Don't show that hurt.
a very bright sounding piano. It almost sounds like it's got to be a real piano. I don't think they had the fake electric pianos that sounded quite like this, but it sounds like one of those piano presets. It is interesting that he's giving solo spots to the keyboardist, because he really doesn't have to. He's Rory Gallagher. Maybe that's why he went back to being a three-piece. I don't know.
Yeah, he was pretty good about that live too, giving the guys solos.
The piano player's really good.
Yeah.
Well, it ain't so funny when you'd rather die. It ain't no pleasure when that girl don't reply to your lovesick letter that you wrote in tears about feeling so bad for a million years. Yeah, the rain ain't fussy about where it falls. It rains on one just like it rains on all. But when it falls, brother, it's gonna rain hard when the blues comes calling with his calling card. Watch out, brother, feel it, but whatever you do, don't show that hurt. Don't show that hurt.
So it says here that he resisted Roger Glover's effort to make it a cleaner sound. He rejected the mixes made by Elliot Mazer, and he hit the roof when an English music executive suggested shortening this song, Edged in Blue, which is coming up, so that it could be a single. So at least he probably didn't have any of his fans ever saying he sold out.
No, I've never heard that.
Stayed true to himself. And that's hard to do, because even when you don't sell out, people say you sold out.
Yeah.
And I feel like I saw something recently, like it was an article about Jerry Lee Lewis with both him and Richie Blackmore being quoted.
Yeah, so Rory was actually on an album that Jerry Lee Lewis put out, the London Sessions.
Yep.
And you can go out and listen to that. And there's 2 tracks that have Rory and Peter Frampton playing guitar. And they also did a cover of Ain't No Satisfaction that came out on the didn't come out on the album, but it was released later.
I know it's floating around in one of my feeds recently where Richie was afraid that Jerry Lee Lewis was going to hit him.
Yeah. Rory, they asked Rory, like, were you afraid of him? And he's like, well, he goes, he was one of the few, like, you know, rock stars or whatever that like lived up to his reputation. Like he seemed like that, like unpredictable. Like, oh, he seemed like calm and gentle, and then all of a sudden he's lifting the piano off the ground and slamming it down. And yeah.
Anyone who's gonna make Richie Blackmore afraid is not someone I want to mess with.
Yeah.
All right, calling card. What do you guys think?
I could go first if you want.
Sure.
I'm gonna give it a 4. It's hard for me. First of all, I really love the lyrics to this song because it's kind of basically saying no matter who you are, at some point in your life, some crap's going to come down on you, and it doesn't discriminate. But that's cool. But the thing I struggle with is, again, there's live versions of this song that are spectacular. There's one at the Hammersmith Odeon that you could bring up on YouTube. I think it's on one of the live albums they put out as well. And Rory's just he had broken the whammy bar off his Fender like early on, so he used to just pull on the strings to make the effect, and he's like going off doing that. And then there's this part near the end where him and his bass player are doing this call and response, and it's just spectacular. So it's like I would listen to that all day, where the album version is good, but it kind of gets paled by that. So, yeah.
All right. John.
The titular calling card.
Titular calling card.
You know what? I will give it a 4 as well.
All right.
I thought, I thought that this was really good. You're getting into like the really bluesy, almost jazz bluesy territory, and the guitar, his guitar work too is like he's very sparse. He's not all over the track. You know what I mean? There are some areas where he's very sparing with what he plays. So I feel like, that makes it, his note choices and where he's putting in like his solos or his fills or whatever. It shows that, it matters, and also like is very, I really like that when we talk about the piano, you're right. It does like back then, I doubt it was like a piano keyboard, but it does sound like when you mentioned it does sound like
maybe the mid 80s or something.
Yeah, one of those patches that sounds like a real piano, but that wasn't my thought at first. It just sounded like a really good, bright piano, great solo. But this is another one that I could picture, like a lot of these, I could picture them being good, like live extended.
Yeah.
I will give this one a 3.5. I liked it a lot, but I would be interested to hear some of the live versions of it. I know I've heard a lot more live Rory Gallagher than I have studio album, but I don't know what any of the songs I was listening to were, because it's usually my father-in-law would play it, and I'd either watch the solos or just listen in the background. So I have no idea what I have or haven't heard, but I've definitely the energy that he brings to things live is pretty incredible.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would have so wished to have seen him live. He played at a small club called the Agora Ballroom. It was also called the Hard Rock Cafe. That I could have walked to from my house when I lived in Hartford. Yeah.
Yep. And you didn't even know it,
Yeah. I saw Stevie Ray Vaughan at that same venue. It was a small place, and that was fantastic. I also saw Robin Trower there.
Oh, wow.
As well. Ian Santana. I saw a lot of good
all
shows.
The guitar
there.
greats.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
No Deep Purple. I don't think they played there ever.
No. All right. So up for the last track on the first side of this album, it's called I'll Admit You're Gone.
I'll admit you're gone when I think I'm able, just like in that song.
Going back to our previous discussion about how confident he was about his vocals, he's not putting really any effects on them, so very dry. Usually if people are insecure about their vocals, they just layer on chorus and reverb and delay until it doesn't sound like a human anymore.
Yeah. I should mention too, he did play a lot of acoustic as well. Yeah, even live, he would sometimes do like half a show in acoustic.
I love that lead acoustic with the slide and the ton of reverb on it.
Yeah. Yeah, he taught himself to play slide, and he was pretty good at it. There's a couple tracks that
I also taught myself to play slide and was not very good at it. Did not have the same end result. I suck at it.
It's cool, dude. Have you ever heard? I think Richie talked about it, or somebody about like what they use for like a slide. It's like some people just use, a socket wrench thing.
Yeah, Richie famously used a screwdriver for Holy Man.
Yeah, that's right. That's what it was.
Yep.
And Rory, he like preferred. I think on the electric, he preferred this like just a glass aspirin bottle.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he'd buy the aspirin and dump it out, he said, and then he'd use the bottle. But then he liked, I think, like a socket wrench for the acoustic or something.
Huh.
Yeah.
You know, people use like bottles, like wine bottle or beer bottle or something, or whatever's around.
Yeah, in fact, I didn't realize that when I was looking at that Jerry Lee Lewis album. It says, Rory Gallagher on bottleneck guitar, and I'm like, what the hell's that? That's a slide.
I think, is that the album that I picked up when we were in Philly?
Well, I wasn't there with you guys, so
I don't know.
Yeah, that's the one. And I
What
picked
was
it
it?
up because it's just loaded with Deep Purple adjacent people.
Oh, that could be another episode.
Yeah. Because it has Chaz Hodges and John Gustafson on bass. Both J. Peter Robinson, who is from Quatermass, Matthew Fisher, and Tony Ashton are on it. Albert Lee and Alvin Lee. It's just got this amazing lineup of people. And it was like $3, so I was like, I'm buying this.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I listened to the tracks that Rory played on, and they were good tracks. I like that. They're covers basically, and they were big songs. It's like Johnny Be Good, and a whole lot of shaking going on, I think.
Of the day when I stop falling constantly, shadows haunting me, moving silently. Day by day, watching hopefully, waiting anxiously, that you might hear me someday. That's what I pray, that's all I pray. It's gonna be okay, I'm gonna be okay, I'm gonna be okay.
It's weird to kind of like faded out the vocals, but I thought we were in for a fade out, but he let the music just kind of end on a natural note. All right, John, what do you think of I'll Admit You're Gone?
I'll admit I wasn't too crazy about it.
You'll admit it.
Yeah.
I'll give it a 3. Because I mean, I thought it sounded good. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
like there was a lot of good elements in there, but I don't know that I really enjoyed the song too much. I think it had one of those, I don't know. I just think like the melody of it, da 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 da. And didn't really like that. But I mean, I appreciate the acoustic work though, the slide work. You know how everything was layering on each other. Yeah, not bad, but I don't know. I kind of, and then his vocals too. I kind of like him a little more in the harder edge stuff. You know, even though it's like, you know, he sounded like, more of a slow song, more vulnerable, but not really for me.
All right, I will give it a 3.5. I think it's kind of a nice, cool sort of wind down from the side of the album. I dig it.
Yeah, I'm kind of with both of you guys, but I'm gonna give it a 3.0. Not my favorite track, but as the end of a side of an album, I was almost thinking, it's like, yeah, you've got the album on, or I've got it on in my lazy boy here. And it's like, yeah, I'll drift off to sleep to that kind of nice song. But I agree with John. It sounded great, actually. I like the production on that one. Everything was like really crisp and clear. But and the song, I agree though. It's kind of a weak song. I think, it's a nice song, but it's a weak song. It'd probably get a neutral on our podcast.
Yeah. No sap.
No sap.
Sap.
No.
Not even close, right?
All right. So the first song on the next side is called "Secret Agent." Ooh. You can almost hear like a Gillen scream there. Is he screaming along with the guitar? Is that just like an effect?
I think that's just an effect.
I guess it's just guitar. It sounds like there's a vocal in there too.
Yeah.
He's making his guitar talk.
Yeah, it's the slide.
This is very like ZZ Top.
Good call.
Yeah, he toured with them.
Oh, he toured with everybody.
He did. And he joked that, he was bare bones on stage, and when he was touring with them, they were doing their, I think it was called Texas Across America tour. They had 2 live steers at the end of the stage.
That seems like a logistical nightmare.
Yeah, nothing could go wrong.
They just got new steers at every city they were at, transporting them around.
Drugging them, so that they don't go nuts. They see somebody dressed in red or something out in the audience.
Nice. He's doing a lot of cool, like, double track, like, guitar solos that are, like, going at the same time, but it still works really well.
Yeah, and this was, like, the first album that there was quite a bit of, like, overdubbing for him. That's a Hughesy thing I could see.
Yeah. Until Mark likes to picture Hughesy singing everything on this album.
Yeah.
This is one I think I've heard live.
Yeah, he did this one live.
So I was just Googling this song live. And it's like does the people also ask thing on Google? It says, was Rory Gallagher a smoker? And it says he lived in a modest apartment with few possessions, never learned to drive, never married or had children. He did not swear, nor did he take drugs or even smoke cigarettes, and called his mother every evening, no matter where he was in the world. What a good boy.
That's a little bit of BS from what I know.
Well, I mean, yeah, because he kind of died from drugs. I mean, it was like prescription drugs, right? But it's still...
Yeah. They did say he didn't like hot smoking on the road. They would like, if it was wafting in from the roadies, they would put towels under the door or something.
The little false ending there. Also suggested by Google, who did Eric Clapton love? So stupid.
Answer himself.
Cocaine. No.
All right, John, secret agent man Matola.
I'm a secret agent at Spy Rock. Ooh.
Spy Rock.
It's spy rock and roll. Yeah, it was pretty decent. I give it a 3. I definitely like the main riff and the guitar sound. It was really punchy, but I wish it was a little more punchy, you know. Feel like that's, again, the way that it was produced, because it's not this big sound. It's just panned over into one channel. But it sounded like he was having some fun with it, with the with the vocals, and again, solo was really good. But you could tell that the the recorded work has some limitations to it.
Mm-hmm. I will give this one. I'll give it a 4. I like it. I like Secret Agent.
Yeah.
And I think I might be influenced by live versions that I may have heard. It's definitely this album kind of presents itself like a blueprint to me. Like this is like the basic structure of these songs, and they're really good. But you could it just sounds to me from the whole album like just waiting to just bust these out live.
Yeah. Interesting. It's funny. I think 1 or 2 albums before this, Rory put out an album called Blueprint.
That is true.
There you go.
But yeah, I'm gonna. This is probably me biased a little bit, but I went 4.5 on this. Probably my second favorite track on the album. I love the slide. And a side note, Rory, he was like an avid reader. He loved spy novels and like the Dashiell Hammett type, noir, crime type of things. So he wrote quite a few songs like in this vein. But this is sort of a take on that secret agent. That's his girlfriend or wife is hired to look and make sure he's not messing around. But yeah.
It's great. It's not even like a private detective. It's an actual secret agent.
Secret agent, yeah. He's carrying a 44, It's like, whoa.
He's got a silencer.
Yeah.
Steps out of line, he's done.
Yeah.
Okay, the next track up is called Jackknife Beat. It's like dry, funky drums. I mean, I will say this. Since the last time you were on our show to listen to a Roger Glover produced album, this is a big step up.
Yeah, I was going to make an early prediction that this will come out above the Barbie Benton album, but we're not done with this album yet.
Don't get cocky. Even if we rank the next 3 songs zeros, I think it's probably gonna edge out Barbie Benton.
It's like calling the election early, you know? It's like,
yeah, exactly. It's not too close to call.
No shade on Barbie. She's great.
She is.
So Pete sent me a picture. We're always sending each other pictures back and forth of stuff we see on TV. So he saw a Peter Frampton poster on a Love Boat episode. It was the girl Vicky. It was on her cabin wall.
I'm in you. I'm in you.
So he sends me it. So I posted on the X and on Blue Sky. That got more likes and reposts than anything I have ever posted.
It's always when you least expect it.
There's these women tweeting back, and it's like, oh, I kissed that poster till it was worn out. It's like, oh my God. And I sent you the one, the Deep Purple on that 70s show.
Yes. That was a good one.
And he could have done a funk album.
Could have.
Yeah.
It's interesting because a lot of his songs are like 1-4-5 blues, the arrangements, but he always does them in a way that draws attention away from it. This is another one that's not a wild progression for a blues song, but it sounds like something different. It sounds more funk than blues.
Yeah.
Again, I'm thinking Hughesy singing this.
Yeah, he's doing those. Yeah, who would have known that Hughes was such a natural fit for this?
What's funny is in 2019, Hughes was going to headline the Rory Gallagher Festival, but he got sick and had to bail out.
Oh, no.
This has a better mix, I think, than a lot of the previous tracks.
Yeah, it sounds really good. And I don't know that like there's been a remix of this release. This is just called a reissue. So what I'm reading about this ZZ Top tour is that it wasn't just a steer. There was they say other Texas critters, including rattlesnakes, vultures, and even a buffalo.
Okay.
You can bring the kids to the show. It's like a petting zoo, except for the rattlesnake.
That lyric was for you, Nate.
What was it? I didn't catch it.
Cooking in the kitchen and what's brewing in the basement's bound to
overspill.
Yeah.
What's brewing? Podcasts are brewing in the basement.
Or a cowbell.
Is there a cowbell?
No, he said, I got the fever.
Oh. It's like, I couldn't hear a cowbell. What are you talking about?
I do enjoy the down, diddly down, diddly down, diddly down, like the just going along with the guitar.
Yeah. That's where you can tell too, these guys that are singers and guitarists, it's like it's almost like they're doing the same thing with one or the other.
Yeah.
So occasionally they'll put them together.
Kind of Bowen-esque.
Yeah, right? All right. That was Jackknife Beat. John, what do you think?
You know what? It didn't really do anything for me.
No, really?
2.5. I feel it was because this song didn't have enough dynamics in it. I felt like, we were talking, I was listening to you guys talk. I wasn't paying attention to the song. It just stayed here. It stayed at the one kind of tempo, just kind of all blended together. It felt very long too. How long was the track?
It was pretty long.
Yeah.
It
sort of lost me.
20 minutes. No.
I think
I gotta go.
It's almost 7 minutes long.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it was I don't know, maybe I have to give it another listen, but to me it sounded, it gave off very, album track, type of feel to it. Nothing really stood out to me
Very
about
much
it. Again,
a vehicle for guitar solos.
Yeah, I mean, it was, in the background it's fine, but it didn't move me.
I will give it a 3.5. I liked the groove of it. Yes, I don't, for a song that essentially had one part, it was a little long, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah, again, I'm sort of in between you guys. I like the groove of it, but I agree with John on the sort of the length of it. I think made it feel when you got to the end like, yeah, this was a little bit monotonous. So I'll give it a 3.0. Yeah.
All right.
I did like the guitar in it. I always like the guitar.
Yes, yeah. I mean, it's good soloing for sure. That leads us to the penultimate track, Edged in Blue. Nice. Almost started off like it was going to be the Little Wing style, that clean electric guitar. Now it's reminding me of was it Tuesday's Gone or something?
Yeah. Yeah, it's got a nice feel to it.
Didn't expect that.
Me neither.
I've cried enough tears to fill up the ocean. Surely you see that my will's been broken. Here I am, where are you? Help me please, pull me through. Here I am,
So it's kind of mid-tempo, poppy.
all my days.
Yep.
It's really
Nice.
reminding me of something I can't put my finger on.
You made up your mind, and nothing can change it.
I was-
A nice acoustic in there that's really filling out the sound.
I can't rearrange
Oh yeah.
it. Here I am, where are you? Tell me please what to do. Here I am, broken in two.
Good drums.
Days are as blue.
Yeah, really interesting
I'd go
rhythm.
anywhere if I thought you'd be there. 'Cause I made up my mind, that's where I belong. I've traveled the world, 'cause I couldn't be told by my heart that you really have gone.
It's got that kind of little sort of Wurlitzer-y sounding organ.
I'd go anywhere if I thought you'd be there. 'Cause I've made up my mind, that's where I belong. I've traveled the world, 'cause I couldn't be told
Almost has kind of a sound of like
by my heart.
Maggie May by Rod Stewart for some reason. It's reminding me of,
Yes, yeah.
Yep.
which is weird because it doesn't really sound like it, but
Yeah, I hear that.
All things were spoken.
I think it might be more the production than the song.
yeah.
Tangle of knots, not easily opened. Here I am, where are you? Help me please, pull me through. Here I am, where are you? All my days are as blue. Here I am, where are you? Help me please, pull me through. Here I am, where are you?
It's got that like really good call and response that you'd hear from like a lot of the famous blues singer guitar players where they sing a word and then throw in a little doodly doo on the guitar. Yeah, definitely. You talk about Husey singing the songs. You can hear Rod Stewart singing this one.
Yeah.
Wake up, Maggie! I think I got something to say to you. It's terrible.
Is that Rod Stewart or Axl Rose?
Yeah, it sounded like Axl Rose.
I thought you were singing freaking.
Knees.
I thought you were singing freaking "Sweet Child of Mine."
Yeah, but what's interesting, you should say that. So you mentioned that, yeah, the record company, this was the single off the album. They wanted to release it,
Right.
and
yeah.
it's probably the poppiest song I think Rory ever did, actually. But they wanted to cut it down, and he was like, "No, F you," for that and other reasons. But I'll tell you what, as somebody who has probably listened to every top 40 song in the 70s now,
Yeah.
If they had released it and it had gotten airplay, it could have been a hit. There's a lot. There's a lot better than probably 80% of what made it to the top 40.
Oh yeah, there's so many sappy songs. Yeah, if this had been and let's face it, it could have very easily been cut down to 3:30. Like as much as I enjoyed that intro, just get rid of the whole intro. Even that alone would have cut it down to like 4 minutes, a little under 4 minutes.
Yeah,
he could have knocked out a verse or a chorus or whatever, and that would have been a great radio hit. But good for him to be like, no, screw you. I don't want to have it.
Yeah, I think that and Moonchild off this album could have been, an A and B side, and probably done something for him. And that was the thing about
release singles. Like, did he even?
Never.
I mean, he must have released singles, but
never, not on his own. Taste.
Really, he didn't. He never released a single like as Rory Gallagher.
As far as I know, no. Wow. Maybe in Europe, some stuff. I think in Europe, maybe some stuff got released as single. Never in the United States. From Taste, the record company released singles without his permission, and they became they became big hits money in Europe. Yeah. Actually, the band broke up, and he didn't see a single dime apparently from all the Taste stuff. And I'd recommend going back and listening to those Taste albums too. They're good in the vein of that time period. Like the Mark 1 Deep Purple stuff. Taste on the Boards is really good. But yeah, he just I don't know. Brian May has talked about Rory a lot. Actually, Brian May tells the story all the time where he says he got his sound from Rory Gallagher because when Brian was he was just in college, not even in a band yet, I guess. He would go to see Rory at the Marquee Club, and him and his friends, I guess they hid in the bathroom until closing, and then they went backstage or whatever, and Rory was back there, and they asked him, hey, how do you get your sound? And they showed him, it's like, oh, I got this amp, I got this guitar, and I got this treble booster. And Brian May said he went out the next day, bought the amps, bought the treble booster, plugged in his Red Special, and that's been his sound ever since. But Brian said he thought of Rory's career that he just sidestepped everything that would have made him a bigger deal, particularly in the United States. He would get airplay on college stations, album stations, and he toured a lot, and he toured a ton and made, quite a bit, I think, touring, but just never got the big splash.
According to what I'm reading here, it looks like he released Moonchild Calling Card as a single in Germany and the Netherlands. And then he released 4 other singles only in the UK and Ireland. So, never a single in the US. Because, I mean, I'd suffice it to say, he's, definitely a guitar legend, but in the U.S., almost unheard of. And I'm sure, like my father-in-law, born and raised and grew up in Canada, and then also lived in the U.K. for like 9 years, and that's probably where he got his. You learned about Rory Gallagher, but. Had he not been from a Commonwealth country and lived in the UK for 9 years?
If you like the Deep Purple podcast and would like to...
All right, too early, lady.
She's in. Like, all right, quit talking. I've had enough.
She's giving me the hook.
Yeah.
Shut up, Nate. Rate it and move on.
But so anyway, I will take her advice.
Yes.
He might not have had any exposure to him because it's one of those. My dad never listened to Rory Gallagher. I don't even know if he knows who he is.
Yeah.
So anyway,
yes, we got to rate. Yep.
John, what do you think?
I'll give it a solid 3.5.
All right.
Did it? Wait, which one was that? Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. I thought I did the wrong one. Yeah. I definitely, I hear what you guys are saying. It's definitely, could have sounded like it could have been a hit, because we definitely were like, oh yeah, it's poppy. Oh, it kind of sounds like this. Had that feeling of you really nailed it, Nate. Saying it sounded like kind of like Maggie May, even though the song didn't, but
Even
like
though
the
it doesn't.
sonics, but the sonics somehow that came together reminded you of it. It could have just been the instruments, the production, the time it was put out, whatever. But I also thought it was interesting too. They had some really, different, the I don't know if I don't know what you call it, like a time change, or like the drum beat or the drum pattern or whatever was just very odd. It just brought your attention to it. Yeah,
It was
the
like
way
this
that they
kind of it was almost like a march.
yeah, the arrangement of the song was really unique. And you know what? Maybe that's what he's going for. Instead of, oh, this could be a hit. He's like, I don't want to make a hit. I don't want to be a pirate.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, this could be a hit. I'm gonna have to change some things about it then.
Yeah, no, and I mean that's why he probably wasn't popular. Is like, he was, too much integrity as an artist. He just wanted the song to be as how he wrote it and recorded it. But I definitely, thought it had a lot of good qualities about it.
Yep. I will give it a 4. I really like this one. That was a good track. Nice wrap up to the side of the album, as we've got one track left. And Mark, what say you?
I also will give it a 4. It's got, as I said, I think it's the poppiest song he ever did, if that's a word. but yeah, I really liked the drums in that. To me, those drums stood out and made the song kind of unique, I think, as we were talking about, just the beat. But I also agree with what you said, Nate. I think Rory had a lot of issues on why he didn't want to release the single. I think there may have been a part of him that just didn't want that huge fame or whatever, that potentially, and also he didn't want to be owned by that machine that just okay, now what's going to be your next hit. But nevertheless, it, as you said, that beginning part was cool, but that could have been cut out for radio play. I think you probably would have had to be, and then cut out the end or do a fade out, and there you go. So,
all right, so we're gonna go to the final track on the album, the closer, "Barley and Grape Rag."
Well, I don't care if I get arrested, 'cause tonight they'll need more than a ball and chain.
Sounds like Ice Cream Man.
I don't care.
It does.
Or I should say Ice Cream Man sounds like this.
Just the same. I've been so alone, I've been feeling blue. I think I need a little, you ought to be my friend. Tell me where that place is, where the whiskey flows and the dice is rolled till dawn.
I somehow think Nate's father wouldn't like this.
Why is that?
Little ragtime in there.
Oh, that's right. Yes. I think it's more Dixie, the Dixieland stuff. If there's no clarinets, I think he's okay with it.
Okay. And could Ethel Merman have covered this one?
He's really belting on this. I think Barley and Grape would be a great name for a restaurant that's really expensive and trendy.
Yeah. So shall we make a playlist of coffee and vanilla, barley and grape?
This is like comes from a tradition of ending albums like with this fun little ditty like this, like kind of unexpected closer. But I really like this.
Yeah, he's playing one of those national guitars from the 1930s, which is, made out of metal that are hollow.
Yeah.
He said he bought it. A nice sound.
He bought it off a guy selling it out of a van in New York City.
They really?
Yeah.
Oh. A friend of mine that we go to visit sometimes has this guitar that his grandfather gave him that he had during World War II, and it's like this just metal guitar with like a few holes in it and stuff, and it's awesome. It sounds unlike anything you've ever heard. It's so cool. I'm hoping he'll leave it to me one day. Probably not.
I guess they said like those old blues street singers used to use those. Because they didn't have an amp. It was 1932, right. So it had to be kind of loud.
And it doesn't get as badly damaged if you leave it out in the rain.
Yeah,
but it does rust. What was that? That little boom.
It sounded like a burp.
Yeah. John, did you have your mute switch on?
What? Oh, stop it.
All right. My friend's calling card. All right. What do you think of Barley and Grape Rag?
Silly title, but great song. I got kicked out of the spreadsheet.
Oh. Why don't you just tell me what your rating is? I'll put it in.
That's become such a thing on our show now.
Yeah, I know.
It's just so fun. It's so fun.
I'll give that one a 4.
All right.
Good way to end the album, and had that kind of anyone's daughter type of energy to it,
kind of playfulness.
And it definitely reminds me of something, but I'm not sure what. But it was very, very upbeat, very cool tune. And when you were talking about the history of the guitar that he was playing, I was thinking, right? It's not only like that's a cool instrument to have, like it's a cool thing to get a sound out of, but in the hands of like the right musician, then it came through sounding even cooler. Like even before you said that, I'm like, yeah, it's a really nice sound. It's a nice tone. And it's like, it's the kind of the pairing of like that unique guitar with that musician that really just put it over the top. And then, just like I said, really playful and fun way to end the album really, just keeping with the, kind of bluesy theme. And geez, like every song I think has been practically every song has been different, but it's kind of kept the same, kind of theme to it or vibe. Really good.
Yep. I'll give this one a 4.5. I love this one. Really, you get a lot of different ways you can end an album, with something serious, with something somber, with something really rocking, and this is just kind of sort of out of left field and very like upbeat and fun, and just kind of, again, like John said, shows the diversity in his songwriting.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 4.5 as well. I mentioned this on the Haskin cast. I'm not a musician, don't play guitar or anything, but in terms of like when I'm trying to judge how good a guitarist is, I don't judge them until I hear them play acoustic. And it's like his acoustic playing, you can tell he's got chops. There's a video on YouTube where he's just playing that national guitar and just doing some tracks. He's covering some of those old blues artists from the 1930s as well. It seems like all of them were blind. They're blind, yes. something. But
blind, they're all blind fruit of various sorts.
Yeah. But he plays the slide with that too, and it's really good. So yeah. And I agree. Like a nice kind of fun tune to end the album on. Leaves you feeling kind of good,
Absolutely. All right. Well, while John fumbles with the spreadsheet, I will thank our next level of patrons, our foundation level. And coming in at the £3.50 Deep Purple New York tier, we have Lord Longford. At the £3 Aromatic Feed tier, we have Simon Ford and Richard Brees. At the at the €3.50 tier, we have Weston Supermare Pilgrim. At the 293 pence tier, we have
Blackmore Tights.
At the $3.33 Halfway to Evil tier, we have Stephen Sharp and Duncan Leask.
That thing I want, sir. That thing I want, sir. That thing I want, sir.
At the $3 Nobody's Perfect tier, Peter Gardeau. Ian DeRosier. Mark Roback. Stuart McCord. Ivan Fjellbu. Runar Simonson. Ruinous Inadequacies and Corey Morissette. Then we have and Joe Dopefish Sigler. Adam Cork, Tim Wood, and Steve Down to Earth Kohler. At the $1.71 I Want My Own tier, we have
Rich Yangui Shaylor. Who the hell is that?
At the 10 Cold Hard Danish Kroner tier, we have Karsten Lau.
Cold Hard Danish Kroner.
And at the $1 made-up name tier, the Did You Kill Me Leaky Mausoleum, Stephen Somerville, the Concerto 1999 Fanatic, Hank the Tank, Private Eyes, Ashen Lionel, Zwapper the Electric Alchemist, Anders Engstrom, ICDC, Durple Purple, David Haddam, Graham Bonnet's Disco Pants and Haircuts.
I said, Graham, our audience expects you to be a bit more dirty.
Disco pants and haircuts, yeah.
I'm just going to put my guitar across his head.
Eddie Lyon.
Homosexual.
And Sick Tone.
Where is she? Where is she? She's just about to close up the library.
Thank you so much to all of you for your generous support of the Deep Purple podcast. And you know what time it is. It just got mentioned.
Well, John's busting out the spreadsheets, and he's fumbling with the tabs. Oops, he sorted it the wrong way. Now he can't tell what is bad.
All right.
You should do a Axl Rose version.
Oh, no. Or I could do my Rod Stewart version and we just call it the Axl Rose version. All right, John, shit. Where does Rory Gallagher's calling card fall on the ratings spreadsheet?
So he's he kind of made it to the middle-ish there.
He's
so
right smack in the middle.
Yeah, with a 7-point, get out of there. 7 point. I can't see anything.
I'm fumbling through the spreadsheet.
All of a sudden, I just see Nathan Beaudry. I can't read anything. Move. It's a 7 point.
Get out of my spreadsheet.
I was over mousing. I apologize.
Get out of my spreadsheet and into my car. 7.33 rating, which is I rated it the lowest, 3.44. Nate 3.89, and no surprise that the rollback was 3.94, the highest, but by a little bit. But this is with such around such classics as Play Me Out and Toolbox.
That's right.
Is right around there. So see, Play Me Out, right up there right next to Husey, who we said should be on the album.
Yeah. If Husey, if you're listening, cover some of the songs on this. I think it'd be awesome.
Barley and Grape. All right. Yeah. Well, it did pretty good. It did pretty
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. I would say, yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think, yeah, I think that it's definitely not one of my favorites, but I can appreciate it for the musicality. Like I get why it sits where it is. You know, he wasn't going for commercialism or to be a big name or whatever. He was just, doing what he did best. And yeah, I'd be interested to hear some of his other stuff because from what I've gathered here is that this was his most polished album. So would like to hear the stuff before this and see what he was doing.
And just for the reference, this was a 7.33. Barbie Benton was a 4.27.
Ooh,
that is rough.
She down with the warhorse there or whatever.
Yeah, she's hanging down there with Red Sea.
So I don't know if I should mention it, but we got as we record this, we got a meetup coming up very shortly.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to bring in these tie-ins. I read an interview from Metal Forces magazine in 2016 from Graham Bonnet, and he said, "I've written a song about Rory Gallagher, and I'm trying to get Ted McKenna and Rory's bass player Jerry McAvoy as well to play on this particular track." Now, Ted McKenna has since passed away, and I don't think Graham ever recorded the song. But he said, it's all about him, about Rory Gallagher. It's called "No One Ever Sang for Rory" because he was such a great player, but he never really made it as such. And he was never recognized as such for many years until now, really. And that's a sad thing.
Oh, the song is called "No One Ever Sang for Rory."
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Oh, it says the song was released in 2016.
Oh, he did release it.
Oh, wait, sorry, that's Google AI. That could very easily be wrong.
I didn't find it released, but
yeah, it's probably not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't trust.
Looking forward to that anyway, the meetup. That'll be good.
Yes, you guys are getting together, what, tomorrow or the next day?
Friday.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So the next day.
Go see Graham Bonnet. Well, if you get a chance to talk to him, ask him about the song.
Yeah.
Or Scott can the next time he talks to him.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Scott reached out to Mick Box from Uriah Heep about Rory, and he got back to him right away, and he's like, "Oh yeah," he was giving him high praise, so that was pretty cool.
Nice,
awesome. All right, well, gentlemen, thank you so much for a very fun listen. I definitely look forward to putting this one on again soon, and just really taking it all in. It's like when we have our first outside dining experience of the year, I like to just set up my little Sonos speaker and just play the Neil Young album Trans for some reason. I don't know why. That's like the first one we do every year. It's just like an obscure album from the 80s.
Yeah, why not?
By Neil Young. But it's just like it always feels to me like it's like May, we're outside, we're grilling some burgers or whatever. I think this is going to be number 2 on the list. Really listen to it. My father-in-law comes over, he can rock out to it.
Cool. Yeah.
So, very good. So where can they find you, Mark?
The 70s Weekly Countdown with Mark and Pete. We're on all, I guess, the major podcast outlets, and also we're on the X machine, as Pete would call it, and I call it the Blue Ski.
Blue Ski, yes, that's a Michael Bagford term too. He called it Blue Ski.
And we're at 70s Weekly, or at 70s Weekly, if you want to spell it out. And So be great to have some people from the show listen to our show. Fans of 70s pop music, perhaps.
Great fun to listen to, and John and I have been on it a few times, and look forward to a triumphant return at some point in the future.
Yeah, could be soon. I want to talk to you guys about that. So,
me and John have enough trouble organizing. I was organizing something with Scott Haskin the other day, and it was just like, how about this day? Okay. And I'm like, man, I wish it was this easy to organize with John. He's like, what about, I can do this day? No, I'm working. What about this day? No, I'm working. What about that day? And it's just like back and forth.
Yeah.
No, with Scott, it's easy. It's like, how about this day? He's like, oh yeah, that's when I'll be between podcasts. Sure,
Yeah.
What do you got to do after that? Another podcast.
Yeah, I'll be up at 3 a.m. podcasting. I've got some time between 5 and 8, and then he's probably podcasting from 4 a.m. to midnight every day.
Well, it really is much easier. I mean, I enjoy doing this, but I'm sorry, Nate. I enjoy scheduling with Scott
Yes.
way better because I'll be like, what? Because he asked me about something the other day, and I'm like, oh, I'll have to get back to you. But the last time I did that, I was like, hey, how about later today? And he's like, give me 15 minutes, and then I was like, you know what I mean? It's so easy, you know?
Yep. All right. Well, yeah, check for, check Scott's Smoke on the Podcast and Haskincast podcast, because all three of us will be on it at various times, have been on it recently, will be on it. By the time this comes out, maybe all three of us have been on it. I don't know.
Mhm.
But always a good time.
Yes.
So, gentlemen, thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for listening, and we will see you next week.
Bye.
Take it easy.
If you like the Deep Purple podcast and would like to support the show, please consider joining our Patreon or donating on PayPal. Patrons get full access to the podcast, Discord server, ratings, spreadsheets, and live stream invites. You can also leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts to help new people discover the show. You can follow the show on Blue Sky, Facebook, Instagram, or Threads. You can also check out the website at deeppurplepodcast.com for show notes and more. Contact us via email at John or Nate at deeppurplepodcast.com. Thanks for listening.